to be doing a video here going over how to use the Orbital Light Previewer tool. It is my most recent tool that I've created. I've made it a couple of months ago for a college project, actually a college final project, and since then haven't been able to make the video for it, but I finally got some time to do it, so that's what I'm doing now. And it's probably one of my more favorite tools just because of the sheer simplicity of it, as well as the amount of speed that it can produce for a lighting workflow, or for a simple lighting workflow, should I say. So before I actually get into specifics, I'll go ahead and say that if you haven't watched the video on how to download and install the tools that I make, then I would suggest watching that first before continuing this video, just because I won't be explaining that process in this video. So if you haven't watched that, go ahead and watch that and you'll be ready to go with this. So we'll go ahead and I'll tell you what the primary functionality of this tool is, and then we'll talk about the interface and maybe some things to watch out for. So first of all, what does it do? It's basically a way to quickly light a subject without really having to do a whole lot of lighting. I guess that sounds kind of, counterproductive, but it's basically kind of an automated way of lighting, where instead of having to place lights, especially for somebody who's not a lighting artist, you maybe have no idea where to put a light, why to put it there. You can use this tool and it will, in essence, spit out a bunch of different ideas for you, and then from there you can pick the one that you like the most. And that may still sound a little bit, unclear as to what it may do, but we'll get to it. So just know that it's a way of quickly lighting a subject. So, and one thing I'll say also before continuing is this tool, it won't really help you for lighting an entire scene. Like, this is primarily for maybe modelers, animators, visual effects artists, riggers, people who want to light something and don't really want to have to spend a whole lot of time lighting. If you're a lighting artist and you're trying to light an actual still life or something, this is probably not going to be of much use to you because it's very simple, it's very generic, I guess, and it'll help you to get something out quickly, but not for big scenes, I guess. So enough of that, and we'll get into what the interface looks like and what it does. So as you can see already, if you've seen any of my other tools, you'll notice this very familiar banner at the top with the button. When clicked, it'll take you straight to my website. And then also you'll see how to use, and that's basically a quick link to take you directly to this video. So once this video is uploaded, this button will take you straight there. So pretty simple. And then you'll see we have a light rig and a tools tab. And the light rig, pretty small, simple, and the tools tab actually doesn't have anything on it for the time being, so we won't worry about that. But the light rig is the area that you'll be in the most. And basically what this is it's the area that you will kind of be controlling the entire setup. I call it a rig here, but I don't want it to be confused with like a character rig. It's basically just a big system, a big lighting system that kind of does a lot of things on its own. So we'll go ahead and first of all select the light type, and you can see everything else is grayed out until we actually create a light. Once you select a light, then this button comes available where you can create a rig, and it says nothing is selected. Very important. This tool won't do anything until you actually select a subject. So the reason for that is it will position this light rig around that subject. So you'll select your object, you'll select your light, and you'll create the rig, and it'll ask you for a name. And this is just to kind of help you to get in the habit of naming your lights. And as well, it will create the name of your light layer. So you'll notice we got a new light layer over here using the name of the light, and the light also has that name. So kind of just a way of keeping your lights organized. Again, for those non-lighting artists that don't really want to spend the time, I know a lot of people that I know don't really care for lighting that aren't lighting artists. They would rather have somebody else do it. So this is kind of the the next best thing to having somebody else do your lighting for you. So you can see all of these options become available now. And we've got a light in the scene. So we will go ahead and move around and see that. And basically, you know, these attributes will control different parameters of the rig, quote unquote rig. And so we'll go ahead and change this guy. The distance will change the distance of the light from the object. So right now we're at 5 units. We'll go ahead and set it to, let's go ahead and do it to 10. So we've got it at 10 units now. And then the next two, orbits and intervals per orbit, those are a little bit unclear. And I've got this, you know, giant book of annotation here that you can sit there and read. But if you are like me and don't like to read very much, you'd rather be a little bit more visual, you'll notice there's a visualization, a show visualization checkbox. And this is a really nice feature to have because it allows you to bring up a visualization of the rig in the interface. And this visualization doesn't really do anything other than the sheer purpose of showing you what is going on. And you can see there's color coding. The light blue kind of links to the orbits, and the intervals per orbit kind of links to these, you know, little spheres here. And so basically what this rig will do is, based on whatever frame range you have and whatever parameters you set here, the light will kind of revolve around the subject. You can see it kind of, let me select it so you can see it a little bit easier. It will revolve around the subject in any number of different angles to give you any possible light angle you can even come up with. Kind of, you can see if you play through it, it's not something you necessarily could play through. You see how fast it's going, but it's basically a way of getting any possible light angle at any given time. So you'll notice that we have it set to 4 and 8, and we can easily increase this to 8 orbits. You can see how that updated. It created more areas in one axis for it to rotate, and then the same with this, we can change it to 16 and we'll update in the other axis. And so that is a really nice thing to have to show what exactly you're going to be getting out of this tool. And so that's something that may not be entirely clear even still. What are we actually going to be getting? What is this going to be generating? Because generating this nice visualization and having a bunch of numbers to edit isn't really entirely useful. So what this tool will actually give you when you render, when you do a batch render of this scene, the way I have it set up, you'll do a basic batch render. It tells you right here, frames to render 128. It will automatically set that in your render settings. Right here, you'll see it sets the frame range to 128. Once you have this set to number.extension, it already sets it to the right frame range. So you'll do a batch render, and what you will get is a render on each frame. The light will be changing, the light angle will be changing, and I actually have an example of that right here. So this is an example of one I did a couple of months ago, where once I batch rendered, you can see that if I use the arrow keys to kind of step through the different frames here, you can see that as I step through, the light angle changes. And this is kind of the big functionality of the tool right here, is the ability to kind of set this rig up, render it, and then you go ahead and once it's rendered, you can step through all of these different frames and see a bunch of different light angles. And so this is really nice to have. And even at this point, you may be wondering, what do I need 33 images of a bunch of different light angles for? Well, the whole purpose of that is to be able to go in here, step through these lights, not play through them. It's not going to be very useful to play through them, but to go in here and step through these lights and see, if I'm working on my key light, I can go in here and let's say for my key light, I want something kind of from the side, so maybe something like that. We can go in and try to find some other angles that look similar to that. These are from the bottom, so we don't really want something like that. We'll go ahead, something like that actually looks nice. So we can go ahead and remember frame 25, we can see right there. We will close out of that, go back into Maya, But when you batch render, don't close out of this window. That's very important. Because now what we can do, we'll shut this off so it runs a little bit faster. We'll go to frame 25, and you can see that's, you know, in the other example where that light might be if our light was here. And we can go ahead and hit the button delete rig. And it says you'll get a little bit of an error message, and it's basically saying you can't group and ungroup lights. It's basically just the way I have it set up in the outliner, but don't worry about that, it's fine. But now when you scrub the timeline, the light doesn't move. When you delete the rig, it basically locks this light at that position. And so now, you know, I've rendered all of these different iterations of the lights out. Once you've found your favorite one, you can then tell it to remain in that one place. Hopefully that's you can start to see what this may be useful for, because then once we've got that, we can then repeat the process. We can go in here, select our subject, select maybe a spotlight, create the rig, name it, let's say fill light, or we'll go with rim light, and we can pretty much light our entire subject this way. So you can see same exact thing. I'm just going to go through here, and something for the rim light may be here, so we can go ahead and render all that out. I won't do it just to save some time. We can go in and find the one the same way. If we wanted to go in here and find something like this, or let's see if we can find something with a little bit more light in it. Something like that may work. Let's go with that. That one was nice. So we'll pick this. So frame 13, we do the same thing. We go to frame 13 in here. And of course this example isn't going to match up completely because I'm not using that scene, but we'll go ahead and delete the rig, and now that light is locked in place. So you can continue this process for as many lights as you want, all the while you are, you know, lighting your scene, and you are getting your light layer set up for you automatically. So it's a really easy tool to use. That's why I wanted to keep this interface very simple, because I wanted it to be as quick and painless as possible for the people that don't like to light. So you can see how that may be useful. So that's pretty much all I have for the functionality, at least. And as far as you know, some other things to maybe be aware of with this tool are things like with that visualization I was showing you. We'll go ahead and talk about that really quick. If I were to create a light here and want to use this visualization, some things that you may run into are when you add a lot of these orbits, it starts to chug a little bit. So if I go ahead and add in 32 of these, you'll see it does okay for that one, but then as soon as I add maybe 64 to this, it will really start to slow down. And that's kind of a bug in the code, unfortunately. That's something I'm hoping to be able to fix in the future so that it runs a little more efficiently. But if you just leave that off, I believe it runs a little bit more smoothly. Yeah, it runs a lot more smoothly. So keep that in mind. Just when you're using a lot of different light angles, it may start to get a little bogged down. But other than that, there's nothing really else to know about it. It's very simple, very straightforward. It's a very easy way to throw out a bunch of ideas and pick which one you like the most and then go with it. So that's pretty much all I have for this video. If you seem at all interested, you can go ahead and check it out on my website, Creative Crash or anything like that, and download it and use it. It's totally free, so check it out. Thank you for watching, and until next time. Thanks, guys.